right, I think we're going to go ahead and get started.
Yeah, let's so I know everyone's on a schedule today. So welcome to the High-Tech Solutions for Individuals with Low Vision and Blindness, hosted by the Chicago Lighthouse. Thank you so much for joining us today. My name is Michelle Fiocchi. I'm the Manager of Retail Operations and Rehabilitation Services at the Chicago Lighthouse. And with me today is also Patrick Andrade, our Manager of Assistive Technology and Accessibility. So he will be doing our presentation today. For those of you who aren't familiar with the Chicago Lighthouse, we're a special service organization serving the blind and visually impaired community, also disabled and veteran communities. Through many programs, low vision services, rehabilitation, education, employment, and independent living. We do have two main locations, one in Chicago at the UIC Medical District and one in Glenview, Illinois. So for today's session, we will be presenting a PowerPoint and leave about 10 minutes for any questions at the end. You're welcome to put your questions in the chat throughout the presentation. And at the end, when we do get to the question section, we will go through those questions if there are any, or you are welcome to raise your hand at the end. And then we will call on you. Just note that right now you all are muted. So when we do call on you towards the end of the presentation, if you have any questions, just remember to unmute. Lastly, this information session is being recorded, and you are also welcome to use the enabled captions feature on Zoom, which is at the lower menu bar of Zoom. So without any further ado, I will pass this over to Patrick.
All right, hi everyone. As Michelle said, my name is Patrick. I'm the Assistive Tech Manager at the Lighthouse. I have been here for about 3 years in this position, and we're just one of the many programs that is within the Chicago Lighthouse. There's about 40 different programs, of which include employment services, seniors, adult living skills, our low vision rehabilitation, Braille instruction, youth transitions programs, research, and etc. So to go over what we're going to talk about today, we're going to talk about high-tech solutions for individuals with low vision and blindness. So to start, I'd like to bring up exams. So starting with a low vision examination, we like to do that to evaluate the function and recommend appropriate rehabilitative strategies and accommodations, whether those be magnification, something auditory, something tactile, what have you, to assist with guiding the assistive technology specialist in selecting appropriate technologies to try. So a low vision examination is really an evaluation in which the remaining functional vision of a person with permanent vision impairment is evaluated. It correlates symptoms with the diagnosed pathology, identifies any remaining visual areas to exploit in rehabilitation, any barriers to the usefulness, and evaluates assistive devices and services to aid in the rehabilitation and in order to improve function. So what is assistive technology when it comes to this? Assistive technology is really any item, system, or modification that can be used to help and improve function. It can be off the shelf, modified, or customized. And a quick example of this is the Control+ function keys that you can use when you're on a computer in any sort of window to magnify the window. There's also a subset of assistive technology called adaptive technology devices. It's a subcategories in which the device is designed specifically for a person with a disability. And most of the devices we refer to in this presentation are adaptive devices, such as the OrCam or the Iris Vision, and many others. So what is an assistive technology eval? It's really a collaborative process, never a single event in which a problem is defined, and accommodations can be used to consider to help those struggling to perform a task with their existing strategies. So a patient is first met with and their needs and goals are determined. And then a breadth of items showcasing various features are demonstrated. This is really important and for us to carry a lot of different assistive technology items so we can show that breadth and all of the various features that these items contain. So the items can then be narrowed down based on necessary features and the feedback provided. And a device can be chosen with the plan for implementation finalized, where a patient can then be evaluated thereafter for their progress. When evaluating a patient, we like to consider their adjustment to loss, expectations, the motivation, as well as whether they have any family or support system, what their cause of vision impairment is, and the prognosis, whether it's stable, deteriorating, unknown, whether there's a visual requirement and goals, what their age is and station in life, if they're a student, if they're an adult, if they're a senior, what their overall health is, cognitive level, and any other physical impairment or physical disability. So you can have types of low vision devices. We like to categorize them in 5 different categories, we'll say here. So they start with handheld electronic magnifiers. These are like your portable closed circuit televisions. We call them portables. There's desktop CCTVs. These are your traditional ones. There's camera arm CCTVs, where they provide you a greater area of room to be able to view any object or printed text, just providing greater width and surface area for viewing. There's wearable devices, which provide freedom for your hands while also providing magnification. And then there's readers, or devices that read aloud, which are devices that will transcribe printed text into text to speech. So the handheld electronic magnifiers, 2 examples are the Explore 5 and the Explore 8. They're really easy to use, can be transportable, and many times have smaller screens. They're great for things like spot reading. There's desktop closed circuit televisions. These are your more traditional desktop workstations. In the right corner, we have an example photo of the Mezzo device. And they frequently have larger screens. This one in the corner, I believe, has about 20 or 24 inches screen. They're either what you can say is luggable, or they're pretty stationary. So you want to leave them in one place in the home, or you could, in theory, lug them around within the home if they needed to be moved. They provide much stronger magnification than the portable devices. They can frequently go up to like 80 times magnification. They occasionally have tablet capabilities and optical character recognition features, which means that they can either pair with an Android tablet to have the capability of using Android apps or Apple apps, or they can have a feature where they can scan printed text and transcribe it into audio. And there's a couple different examples of CCTVs, like the Clearview, the MagnaLink Zip, the Mezzo, the Prodigy Desktop, the Reveal, the Vario, and the Prodigy Connect. Camera arm CCTVs. In the upper right corner, we have an example of the Acrobat Ultra HD. It's a 27-inch screen in this case, with a camera arm that hovers over the very center of the camera above it. It has an overhead arm. It's stationary or portable, meaning the arm can be detached from the monitor, not that it's portable to be carried outside of the home. It provides greater area for tasks, frequently has a rotatable camera for either self-viewing, so great for fixing up your makeup, or for distance viewing. I've seen people magnify it onto their television, or if they're in a classroom, they can magnify it onto a board, whatever you might need a distance magnification for. There's wearable devices, which are head-borne devices. They provide greater freedom with your hands amid tasks and can provide magnification for those daily tasks. Some of them provide text-to-speech capabilities through optical character recognition. Many times, it's not the best optical character recognition scans that you can get. And frequently with these devices, I'd never recommend them too much for reading, if you're in need of high magnification, just because every little movement of your head and breath can make a significant difference in movement while you're magnified. Then there's readers. So these are devices that have capabilities through optical character recognition technology. They can either be a local desktop or a portable device. Like they're in the upper right corner, we have the Orcam Read, which we'll look at further in this presentation. It's like it's the size of a pen. Each device can have a different voice and level of intonation, which makes them all unique. So to start, we'll talk about the Explore 5. I've got a video of it going here as well that I'll be describing. It's a 5-inch LCD screen with sharp HD autofocus camera. So I've got it turned on with the power button on the upper right part of the device. It can start at 2 times magnification and work its way all the way up to 22 times magnification. It has 4 modes of use, with them being an overhead view with a handle. You could pull out the handle and hold it from the handle. You can either have it sitting on the tabletop like it is in the video right now, where you just have it at a 45-degree angle leaning towards you, and you can move it from left to right across the page. Or you can do a combo of the tabletop and the handle, where you have the handle out but sitting on the tabletop. What's really nice about this device is it's super durable. It's great for spot reading, taking it to places like the grocery store or a restaurant, anywhere that you can, anywhere that's mobile. It's great because it can fit in your pocket. You can save photos to it. So many times this is used for saving like phone numbers. You could use it as like a phone book if that's something that you currently use. But yes, this is an example of you holding it from the handle, where you can hold it within your hand. You just grip it around. And then there's the mode where you can put the handle onto the tabletop and use the handle while moving it left and right. So next we have the Clover 6. The Clover 6 is a device that, I should go over the price. The price for the Explorer 5 is $845 in regular MSRP, regular retail price, but it's currently on sale for $695. The Clover 6 is a device that is similar to the HumanWare Explorer 5, only it has a 5.5-inch screen. It's an anti-glare matte touchscreen. So it's different from the Explorer 5 in that you can use the touchscreen to magnify, not just the tactile buttons. It's got a 1080p full HD camera with tabletop reading, as well as distance reading mode. So it's easy to switch between. You just tilt the handle either away from you or towards you. When it's towards you, it's in a distance mode. And I've seen people use it for anything like this, going to the zoo, to reading a menu that's behind a counter, or reading a grocery aisle sign or a street sign. It has a nice handle, and it's also lefty friendly. It's ultra thin and is a great device because it also offers the lines and blinds feature. That's the upper left button on the device. If you are able to see the photo of the device in this presentation, it's the blue button on the upper left. It's able to provide a line across the screen, either horizontally or vertically. And it can provide a blind across the screen, which means it will take away a lot of the area of the screen, so that you can kind of focus more on a specific part of the text. This device goes for about $795 market's retail price. Then we have the HumanWare Explorer 8. This one increases in size to an 8-inch screen, as well as magnification to 30 times magnification. So it's really compact, light, and portable. It's fairly thin. It can fit in a purse, a backpack, not necessarily a pocket. It's a little too wide for that. What's nice about it is it's got a USB-C type charge, so there's no incorrect way to plug it in when charging. All of these devices are rechargeable as well, that we're speaking about today, so they're charged just like a cell phone. This device has a touchscreen as well as buttons to be used for magnifying. It's got 3 buttons on the very front, one on the left for demagnifying, in the center for changing the color contrast, and on the right for magnifying. It also has a distance mode, which makes it possible to read things that are at a distance. Just like with the Clover 6, It's a little bit different in that it doesn't have a handle to be able to hold. So you do have to hold the device pretty much with two hands. So here's an example of it magnifying on something at a distance. You just tap the screen to allow it to autofocus. And it magnified on the Post-it saying hello across the room. Going further along, we have the Explore 12. This is the big sister of the Explore 8. It's got a stand that you can purchase for $300 extra. It's $1,495, $1,495. What's great about this device is it's 12 inches in size. It's just as easy to use as the Explore 8, only it's a lot nicer because the screen is a lot larger, so you're able to get more viewing area of your text. It also has a distance camera that comes with a comfortable viewing angle, so you can use the distance camera either in the stand or out of the stand. It has an optional stand for writing capability, and this whole thing is touchscreen as well with the ability to pan across the screens from left to right. So when you're magnified, you can, with your finger, scan to the left and to the right to be able to see whatever text you're missing while magnified, and you do not have to move the print on the table. This is a great device for anything like playing cards, writing a letter, writing a check, or magnifying for students, magnifying onto the board, anything like that. Going further along, we have the Mezzo device that I spoke to a little bit earlier. This is a really neat and friendly, easy to use, intuitive device that's a traditional desktop CCTV. It's got it's pretty compact in how it can fold up. It's easy to operate with its three controls on the front. It's got color contrast on the left side, magnification in the middle, and brightness on the right. It's got a movable monitor for ergonomic reading posture, as well as two different sizes, one in 20 inches and one in 24 inches, and an XY tray for smoother reading. What this means is that instead of moving the paper, you move this tray that the paper sits on top of, and the tray is on wheels, gliding wheels that can move up and down and left and right. This goes for 20 inches for $25.95, for 24 inches, $28.95. Moving on towards this camera CCTV, or a 3-in-1 desktop camera arm CCTV, we have the Acrobat HD Ultra. It's got the camera for self-viewing, for tabletop viewing, and for distance viewing. It comes with a remote control that you can use for magnifying, changing the color contrast, whatever you need to do with the device. So that's how you can maneuver it. And then you can also move the camera arm either left and right across from the back, or you can tilt it left and right, up and down. So this one goes for anywhere from, for 20 inches, $25.30 to 27 inches for $34.15. Moving on to the Compax 10. This is a device that kind of combines magnification with optical character recognition in the form of what's rather a more portable device. So what we have here is it's fully touchscreen. It's a large 10-inch screen with no tactile buttons. We've got our buttons that go from left to right. We've got one for demagnifying. We've got another for taking a photo, which we are doing currently right now in this video. We have another for taking a photo and allowing our text to be read aloud to us. Then we can also take a photo and save whatever we want to save. We have a button for, we have a button for changing the color contrast and a button for magnifying. So it's got 3 camera modes. One of them is an overview mode, so you could hold it and use it kind of for distance viewing. We have a desktop mode where it sits on top of the paper, and we have a side camera, which is what we're viewing right now. So it has a camera that folds out onto and hovers over the right side of the device. You can then put a page on the right side of the device, and it will be within view of the side camera. You can press the center button, that is to change it to optical character recognition in text-to-speech, and the text will then come onto the device and be transcribed into large print, high contrast font. You can then read along with the device and listen to it.
That a single man in possession of a good fortune must be in want of a wife. However little known the feelings or views of such a man may be on his first entering.
So we've got it going really fast, or we can change the color contrast. We can pause it. We can read along on our own. We don't have to listen to it. And so it's got magnification levels from 0.5 times to 22 times. This is a great device also if we want to attempt to do writing on a check. We can magnify and then write along the right side. Only really good for righties, not for lefties. Next, we have the Orcam Read. This is a version of a portable device that can read aloud. It's got 2 camera modes, one of them in the version of a box mode where it points a red laser onto the page in the form of 4 corners that looks like a picture frame. It also has a cursor mode, so it points out what looks like the red laser, a red laser cursor. And that will read you a specific area of text, while the box mode only reads about a half page of the text. So the red laser shoots out onto the surface, and for that reason, this device is best for those with reading difficulties or moderate to mild low vision. And that's because you need to be able to see that red laser in order to gauge where it's going to read from. This device is great because it's fairly simple in that it's only got 4 buttons that are tactile. One of them is the trigger button on the very front, the circular one. We're pointing out the red laser onto the table right now, so you can see that that red dot. It also has a plus and a minus button for raising and lowering the volume. Next in this video, we just pointed out the red laser in the form of the box mode. So we're going to do that onto this sheet that we've got in the video on Benjamin Franklin. So it should start reading it after we take the photo.
Benjamin Franklin was born on January 17th, 1706 in Boston, Massachusetts. He was the youngest of 13 children and entered school at the age of 8. Benjamin did very
So it started reading it. We can fast forward by pressing the plus button or rewind pressing the minus button.
His father, Josiah, Benjamin became an apprentice in his brother James' print shop. When Benjamin became an apprentice in his brother James' print shop.
All right. Next, we have the Cloverbook Lite, Plus, and Pro. So this is a device that's very similar to the Explorer 12, only the difference is that it's got 3 different versions. The Lite is the most, or the Plus is the most similar to the Explorer 12 because it has the tabletop magnification as well as the distance magnification feature. They're very similar in size. The Cloverbook is about a half inch larger. It can magnify to a higher degree, up to 60 times. In its distance mode, and it can magnify up to 18 times. The distance camera is very nice in that it's super discreet. It can be folded up and away, and it can also be used for self-viewing as well as distance viewing. And then the Pro feature offers optical character recognition and text-to-speech through the use of a single button, where you can just put the paper under the onto the tray, press the OCR text-to-speech button, and then it'll start reading it aloud and also transcribe it into large print font. Hopefully this video works. I was having trouble with it earlier. Oh. Sorry for the troubles. One second, everyone. There we go. Not going to play that video again. So Next, we have the Connect 12 and the Reveal 16i. These are HumanWare's versions of tablet devices. So they're really Android devices that have the ability to magnify as well. And these Reveal 16i and Connect 12 both have the ability to have optical character recognition so that they can transcribe the printed text into large print, high contrast font on the screen that will then be read aloud. These are great because you can add your books to the devices. You can go on to the internet. You can use Google Drive. Any kind of Android app that is available is able to be done on these devices. Then we have the MagnaLink tab. This is a great device if you're looking for a computer replacement because it's a Microsoft Surface touchscreen tablet that can attach to a LVI sidearm camera that has built-in optical character recognition as well. So what that means is you can really use this as a regular Windows 10 high-functioning computer while also using it as your magnifying device. In one way, what this device is really neat is if you're someone who is looking to get back to crosswords and find that you really struggle with magnifying and writing under a traditional desktop CCTV or portable device like the Expo 12, you could utilize this by taking a photo of the thing that you want to write on. Maybe it's a worksheet, maybe it's a word search or a crossword. You could take a photo of it and then you could go into an editing mode on the device where you can then write on the worksheet that you've taken a photo of with a pen that's on the computer itself. So you're really not writing with a traditional pen, you're just actually writing on the screen of the computer so you can magnify it as much as you need. So those pesky crossword squares don't have to be too small for you to write in. So we've got the DaVinci Pro, which is a really great device for magnification and as well as text-to-speech optical character recognition. And that's because it's a 24-inch screen, so it offers a lot of viewing area to be able to use for magnification. If you're also in need of the ability for something to read to you, this is a great device. It's great for those who are looking for something simple because you can use pretty much just 2 buttons in order to get it to read to you. It also offers that 3-in-1 camera to be able to show that self-viewing mode as well as the distance mode. We have our wearable device now. This is the Iris Vision Live. It comes with an Oculus pair of goggles with the Samsung phone for magnification. And
focus screen, if we want to go to the...
Includes multiple modes for viewing, one of which is YouTube. A mode that we're going to look at here is called bioptic mode, in which it offers a bioptic view of whatever you're looking at.
The center of the screen with a 70-degree view below, so you know the context of what you're looking at here, some books and CDs on a shelf. The top part is the rectangular magnification area. So for instance, with these books, if I wanted to read them, now I'm 3 or 4 feet away, but I could still read them by placing the bioptic rectangle in the area and then with my fingers zooming in. So I can now read the Monet and so forth. So the way I can do that is change this. So for instance, if I got closer to these books, I wouldn't need to zoom in quite as much. I could go back and forth. So this bioptic view really gives the person the ability to change the power or the magnification power on the fly throughout the day, depending on what they're looking at.
All right, and so next we have a new version of the Iris Vision. It's called the Iris Vision Inspire. It's different from the Iris Vision Live in that it's not an Oculus pair of goggles anymore. They built their own pair of goggles that still connects to a Samsung phone, and it's now tethered by a wire. So it is great in that it's more aesthetically pleasing. It's lighter in weight. The downside is that it's now tethered to a phone by a wire rather than, but that does mean that the heaviness of the phone is no longer on your face. It's in the process of receiving similar features as the Iris Vision Live, such as the bioptic feature. It currently has features such as reading, television, scene viewing, and RP mode, which means that it can shrink the field of view into whatever the field would be of someone with RP. We've got the eSight, which is eSight 4, which is a similar wearable device that allows you to move between TV, reading, indoor, outdoor, and custom vision modes at up to 24 times magnification. It offers the most magnification of any of the wearable devices, but does offer the smallest field of view. It's designed for all-day comfort and use with its Halo comfort band, and has wireless hands-free built-in controls or remote, and can feature connections to a smartphone for taking and sharing photos or for streaming your TV, phone, or computer directly to your eSight. Then we have the Vision Buddy, which is very different from the others in that it transmits the computer screen or the TV screen directly into the goggles by using a streamer that can connect to your existing cable box or any other TV providers such as a Roku stick, a Fire Stick, Chrome Stick, whatever you're using. So it's got 3 different modes, one for live mode, one for TV mode, and one for reading mode, which also offers built-in optical character recognition. It's a bit hard to use its optical character recognition mode because it's just requires you to look at the text and press a button when you want it to read it. And it's hard to see if the dot is on the text that you want it to look at when you're pressing the button. It doesn't make very much sense when explaining it, but if anyone's willing to try it or looking to try it, then I will be sure to show you that feature. Then we have the Oxide Onyx, which is a lower device that's fairly new and on the lower price side. It's got tactile buttons, making it easy to navigate the menus and functions. It's very lightweight, 70% smaller than all of its competitors. And it has an HD camera that streams live, lag-free video, only up to 8 times magnification. And it's got a visor for hands-free operation that can be removed for handheld magnifier mode. So moving on, we have our Windows computer and software. So this is something that we work with a lot at the Chicago Lighthouse. We do a lot of accessibility training, and that can feature either the built-in accessibility features that are under your ease of access settings. If you're on Windows 10 or if you're on Windows 11, it's just called accessibility settings. These can be things like Windows Magnifier, where it has a feature that you can read selected areas of text called Read From Here. Or you can have a screen reader on your computer called Windows Narrator. Then there's a lot of third-party computer software for accessibility. These are programs like ZoomText, Dolphin Supernova, JAWS for screen reading, NVDA, which is a free screen reader, and Dragon Speech Recognition, which is a device that, or a software that allows you to connect with your, use your computer using your voice. On our website, we have a blog that features how to make your Windows 10 computer and Windows 11 computer low vision friendly, as well as how to pick a computer if you are blind or low vision. Going on to Apple computers, these have a lot of display accommodations that allow for color inversion, increasing contrast, reducing transparency, cursor size, and color filter. You can also zoom, otherwise known as magnify. There's also a feature where when you hover over selected text, it will make that text significantly larger. Then there's spoken content. This is when you get into the in-between of magnifying and screen reading, where whatever you hover your mouse over, it will then read to you. So this is for those who might be able to decipher that there's text there, but aren't able to read the text on their own. Lastly, there's VoiceOver, voice control, dictation, and Siri. VoiceOver is the screen reading feature of Apple. We have Chromebooks, which are frequently not the most accessible devices that are out there, but can get the job done. They have enhancement displays and visuals such as zooming in the browser. Like I said, the Control Plus button or function keys is something that you can use to magnify a window in any window that you're in. If you're like on in a browser, I should say. You've also got the ability to change the font size, the color inversion, put it into a high contrast mode. But when it comes to spoken feedback, you've got ChromeVox, which is not the most useful screen reader that's out there, but it is possible to navigate the internet with ChromeVox, just not as user-friendly as something like Windows Narrator, Apple's VoiceOver, or JAWS, or NVDA. Going into Android tablets and Android smartphones, I'm actually a fan of Android devices. Many times you might hear in the community that Apple is way more accessible. That is true in the way that with the idea that if you're a screen reading user or a VoiceOver user, then there are many more apps out there that are VoiceOver friendly than there are apps out there that are TalkBack friendly, which is the comparable version of VoiceOver that's on Android phones. So for this reason, Apple phones might be more accessible with more applications that are out there because it's just harder to make, not harder, but developers are less likely to make Android apps accessible than Apple developers are. So when it comes to the settings and capabilities, they vary depending on the phone brand as well as the current Android software, but you can always find the accessibility features under your user settings. Google Pixel Android phones frequently do not offer as large of font options as Samsung Android phones, and Samsung Android phones also offer an easy mode, which makes it so that the phone is significantly less cumbersome to use and offers less features. So that's great for those who may be brand new to a smartphone. Then we have Apple iPads and iPhones. These offer just as many features for accessibility as the Android phones do. They do offer an application that is significantly better than what you can maybe find on an Android phone. Actually, that's not true because Envision AI is also on Android phones. Sorry for that point. But what I should say is that on an Android phone, you can download apps called Google Lookout, Assisted Vision, or you can download an app called Envision AI. And these apps allow you to do things like read printed text, read documents, have colors recognized, barcodes from products recognized, as well as it can describe images to you. With the Apple iPads and iPhones, their application that's best is called Seeing AI, or we also have Envision AI. Seeing AI is an app that can describe scenes, it can identify people, it can tell you if the lights are on, it can identify banknotes, many different things, but similar to what the Google Lookout Assisted Vision app can do. Next, we have smart devices and assistants. So a smartphone is a kind of cell phone, usually one that's not tactile and fully touchscreen. Smartphones and assistants that are out there are Alexa, Google Assistant, Cortana, etc. And a smart device is one that's connected to the internet through Wi-Fi. For example, a TV is smart when it can connect to the internet, making it possible to do things like stream Netflix or Hulu. Smartphones include screen enlargement capabilities, and assistants can help with answering questions and completing tasks when connected to a smart switch. Last, I want to touch on TV accessibility. Just brief you on audio description. So audio description is in which there's a narrator for the whatever program you're watching. So for example, I'm going to show a clip of audio description for The Lion King.
Hundreds of animals gather at the bottom of Pride Rock, a tall, flat ledge that towers over the rest of the savannah. Zazu, a small blue bird with a large...
So that's a quick example of audio description on the TV or for a movie. You can get that from many times for movies from your library, or you can turn them on under your settings, under the same accessibility settings where you would turn on closed captioning. So TV screen reading and remotes, many cable providers have low vision options for bills or remotes, such as Comcast. They have a low vision remote. A photo of it is in the upper right corner, but Comcast also has a remote that allows for voice, a voice remote, so that you could, with your voice, change the channel or raise the volume. Many remotes have this voice control capability, and smart TVs and devices also provide screen reading of TVs. So for example, Samsung TVs have Voice Guide, which will then read out every single thing that you pass over on your television on the screen. I'm running out of time, so I just want to touch on talking cell phones. So we have talking cell phones at the Chicago Lighthouse for those that are not able to benefit from a smartphone. So these are phones such as the Blind Shell or the Mini Vision. If you're interested in these, I believe Blind Shell is also going to be at this conference, but you can also give us a call and ask about these devices. So they offer many different applications that are for low vision users, but what's really great about them is they read everything aloud that's on the screen and are super easy to dial out and utilize. So they even have a button where you can speak to the phone and ask it to call people or text people. Then we have devices that read aloud. Talking more about these, there's things like our talking cell phones, there's talking calculators. We have a device that can read printed text as like a speaker called the Enhanced Vision Smart Reader HD. We have the Orcam My Eye Pro and Orcam Reader. We have the iBill, which is a device that can identify bills, and the Victor Reader, which is a note-taking device. Going over the Enhanced Vision Smart Reader, it's great for those with lots of printed text, those that might have to read tables and columns. It has over 20 in a natural male and female voice, offers fully tactile control buttons, and easy to position documents, is portable and lightweight with a built-in battery, and can connect to a monitor or TV in order to view the text.
HD Quick Start Guide. Main functions. Tap to perform OCR, scan, tap again to return to home ready to scan page. Tap to go to previous line.
That's an example of the Enhanced Vision Smart Reader. Then we have the Orcam My Eye Pro, which is a device that is on the side of the glasses where it can read simple text in a full page or a specific area. So what I am doing right here is I'm pointing to the text in order to have it read aloud. I tap the side to make it stop. It's this small device that's no bigger than a tube of lipstick. $5. Right there, I just held a bill up in front of me. $1. And it read that it's $1. Here I'm holding a product, looking at the barcode, and it said McCormick Green Food Coloring. Next, I'm looking at a color swatch, pointing at it, and it said it was a gray-blue area. Then lastly, it has a smart reading mode where I can take a look at a newspaper, ask it to do smart reading, and it'll scan it and then allow me to interact with the text. I can say, read me the headlines. I can ask it to find a particular word. I can ask it to find the amount, any kind of
read me the headlines
is good. And then we've got the InVision glasses. Last but not least, InVision. So this is very similar to the Orcam in that it can scan text, export that text to your phone. You can do a scene description. What's different is that you can do a scene description of what's in front of you. You can also video call someone so that they can see what you're seeing. You can do object recognition as well as light detection. So this Envision Glasses is the same as the Envision AI app that we had discussed a little bit. It's basically its hardware version, and it's made from Google Glass. So sorry to kind of rush at the ends, but I wanted to allow for some questions in case anyone had any. You're always welcome to call the store at 1-800-919-3375. That's one way to reach me or Michelle. You can also email the store at store@chicagolighthouse.org. So that's one way to reach any of us at the Assistive Technology Center at the Chicago Lighthouse.
All right, so yeah, we're gonna leave the floor open a little bit, just to see if anyone has any questions, if you want to put in the chat or raise your hand. We do apologize for having to rush through a little bit at the end. Just so everyone knows, we do also have a follow-up session at 11 a.m. Central Time, 12 Eastern, with our Dr. Kelly Shearer, our low vision optometrist. It's going to be a Q&A session about our low vision services and low vision support. So if anyone has any questions, please just let us know. I'll be happy to announce your name, and if you can unmute if you have any specific questions on any devices or aids or suggestions of specific cases you may have that you're unsure how to proceed. We're here to help.
I have a question.
Yes, Gary, go ahead.
A few years ago, I was looking for a, I found it, but it was extremely hard to find. I was looking for a thermometer for someone to take their temperature, because I had a friend who was a massage therapist, and because of COVID, you know, they had to take it to someone's temperature, and I found it extremely hard to find. I found one, but do you have anything in case?
Yeah, we actually do sell a talking infrared thermometer for taking temperatures. There are also like talking ear thermometers and things, but I think in your particular case, they probably want to avoid, well, I guess since it's been shot, so it might be comfortable with touching. But talking infrared thermometer, I'll put that in the chat link so you can take a look.
Okay.
But yeah, essentially it's like a little trigger gun that you'd point towards your forehead or your wrist, and the difference is it'll announce it out loud. So you know what temperature it is. So I will put that in the chat for you.
Great, thank you.
Great question. Any other questions?
I have
Yeah,
another
that
question.
brings-
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
So I noticed that the phones were really expensive for not smartphones.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
true. You know, on the market in general, comparatively, they are a little bit more expensive, but they do have a lot more enhanced features. Everything is audio descript on them, so you're navigating through the menus. Anytime you're pressing a button, it's announcing out loud. They're high contrast, they're simplified, so they're not going to be like your traditional flip phone or something that you'd find like a lower cost option on, you know, T-Mobile or AT&T or something of that sort. That being said, I do agree, you know, all technology is expensive in this field, unfortunately. That is probably the biggest barrier low vision and blind users have, is that this technology is expensive. I think the more that devices get out on the market and the more competition there is, that does hopefully bring them down. But as we've all seen, you know, inflation has always knocked things up in the past year and a half as well.
Yeah, and that's why I'm also a big fan of Android phones and iPhones. Although iPhones are really expensive, you can get a very cheap Android phone that can do just what you need. If you're just in need of it being able to call someone or dial out or text someone, then the assistants within them are very accessible for that. And you can usually find an Android phone for free if you get like a new phone plan a lot of times.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Yeah, and you brought up a great point that we don't just have high-tech solutions, we also have a lot of low-tech solutions, just like infrared thermometers that talk.
Any other questions? Again, welcome to put in the chat if you're able to. But we will try to wrap up in the next minute, just so that if you have other presentations, and we do have our Q&A with Dr. Shearer starting right at 11 a.m. Central, 12 p.m. Eastern, if you'd like to join in and get low vision service questions answered. Okay. All right. Well, I just want to say thank you all so much for attending. We greatly appreciate you tuning in to our tech talk today. Feel free to reach out to us via email or through the phone. We are happy to help in any way we can. Thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.